630 WMAL.
7:37 on the Morning Majority. Brian Eva, Jonah Goldberg, National Review in this morning. Pleased to be joined by Jake Tapper, ABC News Senior White House Correspondent. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing okay. I'm curious, why did the president, you have intelligence on why he didn't give the speech from the Oval Office?
Well, I mean, there's the official reason, which is that they wanted to, there were members of all four branches of the military at the National Defense University, and they wanted to thank them all. And then there's the supposition, which is that an Oval Office address could be seen as elevating this military engagement in the eyes of the American people in a way that the Obama administration wouldn't want it to be. From the very beginning, they've been trying to make this seem as international and as minor a U.S. commitment as possible. You know, an Oval Office address would certainly run counter to that purpose, because it would make it seem like Afghanistan and Iraq in terms of commitment and importance, and that's certainly something they've been working against.
All right. I'm going to play a cut for you about the president talking about Congress's role in this.
9 days ago, after consulting the bipartisan leadership of Congress, I authorized military action to stop the killing and enforce UN Security Council Resolution 1973.
Well, what is your reporting on exactly the conversation the president had with Congress before this took place? Exactly who did they talk to, and for how long? And is Congress satisfied with it?
They're not satisfied with it. Many members of Congress are not. Some are, of course. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid have not said anything negative and have suggested that the consultation was perfectly appropriate. But a lot of Republicans and some Democrats have expressed concern that Congress was not adequately consulted, and that the meetings that did take place before the military action was on a Saturday. The day before, there was a meeting in the Situation Room between the President and members of Congress, both present and on speakerphone. And there were a bunch of phone calls the day before that, and also the Saturday of the military engagement. But for instance, House Speaker Boehner's office says that was not consultation. That was not finding out our ideas about what we thought. That was just informing us that they were going to do that. So, the counter argument from the White House is this is not a war. This is a limited military activity in the same scope as the sorties flown over the former Yugoslavia, which Bill Clinton did without consultation. And I remember at the time writing stories. I worked for Salon at the time, but I remember at the time writing stories of then Congressman Tom Campbell of California saying this was a violation of the War Powers Act. So there might be precedent for it. That doesn't also mean that the criticism doesn't have precedent as well.
Hey, Jake, it's Jonah. Good to see you, or hear you.
Hey, Jonah, how are you, man?
I'm good. Speaking of precedent, now, is there any attempt by the White House to reconcile the past statements from Obama, but even more glaringly Biden, about consultation with Congress and getting approval from Congress? I mean, if you just go by that soundbite that's all over YouTube from Biden, saying, well, this is just a military action short of war, really doesn't cut it, compared with how Biden said that any such action by Bush vis-a-vis Iran was an impeachable offense.
Well, I actually substitute anchored on Sunday for Christiane this week, and
you did a very good job, I might add.
Thank you, Jonah. And we had Secretary of State Hillary Clinton on. And I read her a quote from President Obama, then Senator Obama, from the Boston Globe in 2007, saying that the president, it was a questionnaire just about general presidential powers, what he thought of them. And it was, one of the questions was about going to war or an act of war. And then Senator Obama said that unless there was a vital or national interest being threatened imminently, the president had to go to Congress before engaging in unilateral military action. I read that to her after Secretary of Defense Gates told me that Libya posed neither an imminent nor vital interest to the United States. And then I also played for her a quote of hers in which she was talking about Bush and Iran and talking about how then President Bush needed to come to Congress before authorization. Her explanation, now I'm not saying whether I buy it or whether I don't buy it, but her explanation for the discrepancy is
these aren't the droids you're looking for.
that Clinton and Obama at the time as senators We're talking about unilateral military action of the U.S. against Iran, and this is a multilateral action with broad-based support, and therefore very different.
Yeah, okay. I'll go on the record saying that's total nonsense, but that's fine. I want to ask another question about that. You know, I'm actually willing to defend Bob Gates on this whole distinction between an interest but not a vital interest and all that kind of stuff. But politically, that's got to be very frustrating. During the commercial break, did Hillary bury a ballpoint pen in Bob's neck or anything? I mean, how is the White House treating Bob Gates being so off message?
Well, I mean, Bob Gates is, you don't keep a Republican defense secretary on board and not think that he's going to, be a team player, but also speak his mind. I mean, that's one of the assets of keeping, one of the other guy, the other guy's defense secretary on, is you get somebody who kind of has his own power center and says what he wants to say, there isn't anybody arguing that Libya posed a direct threat to the United States or was a vital interest, but it is rather jarring when Gates says no. You ask him the question, is it a vital interest? No. But he says it is an interest, and Secretary Clinton said also on Sunday that it's a vital interest of our European allies, of France, England, Italy, which might not be compelling to a lot of Americans, but is significant for those who have an interest in maintaining the alliance. I don't sense any tension between Clinton and Gates. They actually, as probably the most powerful people in the Obama cabinet, they really seem to have a great working relationship, even if at the end of the day they were on opposite sides of arguing about whether or not the U.S. should intervene here.
Hey, there are Republicans who are in favor of this, and there are Democrats who are in favor of this, and obviously Democrats and Republicans who don't like what's going on in Libya. I'm just wondering quickly, I mean, how does the White House feel the speech went last night? They think that the president made the case.
They feel like it went well. They feel like he made the points he wanted to make. He did explain some questions that were unanswered, such as why intervene here and not others. He did give I wouldn't call it the Obama doctrine, but he did say there were a special set of circumstances here involving a massacre we could prevent, a direct way we could prevent it with the U.S. having unique capabilities, broad-based support, interests at stake, etc. A whole litany of reasons why there would be action here and not, for instance, in the Ivory Coast or Syria. There were a lot of unanswered questions, such as price tag, end game, exit strategy.
And can you trust the rebels, which is a big one as well? That
is a big one as well, although we are reaching out more to them. And I just saw some press release from AFRICOM, our command and control center in Africa, saying that we were reaching out even more directly to the Libyan rebels. I guess it's a question of to say there's so many Libyan rebels. Some of them obviously are former government officials and former military officials and pro-democracy groups, and then some of them might be a little less savory. I asked Jay Carney yesterday at the White House briefing about a West Point study from 2007 indicating that 1/5 of the insurgents going into Iraq to fight the U.S. from Syria, 1/5 of them were Libyan, approximately 1/5. And was the administration at all concerned about the fact that some of these Libyan rebel groups might be composed of jihadis that fought against the U.S. in Iraq? And obviously there is one group at least that has ties to Al-Qaeda. I didn't really get much of an answer, but
shocking.
There are a lot of unanswered questions there, definitely.
All right, Jake, great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.